All right, it's 2 o'clock. We are going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar. I'm Stephanie Fisher with the Education Department at Michigan Bankers Association. It's great to see you. We are going to talk about stress and immunity today. There's a lot going on in our world. Unfortunately, this leads to a lot of stress. I had the pleasure of hearing Matt Johnson, president of On Target Living, speak here locally in Lansing for one of our member banks, Mercantile Bank. I guess, Matt, probably going on maybe 2 years ago, but you will soon see how much of an advocate he is for all of us, for our health, for our well-being. And he's going to share some of his tips for taking control of this stress in our daily life. So please join me in welcoming Matt.
Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I'll get my screen shared and we'll get rocking and rolling. So again, like Stephanie's saying, it's a crazy time, and there's an opportunity for stress to happen. And today's presentation is stress and immunity. And I'm going to kind of connect the dots of why those are connected. And so during this pandemic and crisis, stress levels high. But also, immunity is very important. And I'm going to talk about we actually have a lot more opportunity to play offense versus just playing defense. That's what I want you to write down. If you got a piece of paper, I'm going to share some nuggets as we go. We have some handouts to share. But write down, we're going to start playing offense versus just defense when it comes to our health. So who am I? Where did I come from? I'm born and raised in Michigan. So excited to work with any Michigan organizations, let alone the Michigan Bankers Association, because I know how much our state needs to improve our health. And I grew up with this health guru of a father, this is a true story, who drove a Frito-Lay truck. And so during, my sister and I are in this picture, my mom's in this picture, my first message to you is it's not about being perfect. There's so much information out there. Eat this, don't eat that, exercise this way, don't exercise that way. What do you think about stress and how to manage it? All I want you to think about is how do you make it a little bit better? How do you make what you're doing a little bit better? Because it's not about being perfect, it's building these habits. So my father, this health freak, health guru, drove this Frito-Lay truck. We could have any chip we wanted in that truck, but we were taught these foundations, these principles, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. What are a couple foundations and principles? Because if we get off the plan a little bit, we still have these habits to fall back on. But like yourself, there's been some crazy times the last several months, four plus months in different elements. But like this little girl, maybe some of you are feeling like, man, it's Groundhog's Day. There's not a lot of positivity. There's not a lot of hope. I got more demands on my plate. A lot of you are working in small branches or offices where you're carrying a lot of the burden, the stress. Maybe that's financial stress of the family or the amount of work you have. And so I tell this story, when we started this stay at home, my wife works full-time, I work full-time, and we set up our desks. So my wife's desk's in front, then I set mine on the side. And that first day, I'm holding my 11-month-old daughter, Karis, and I look under my wife's desk, and my 2-year-old daughter is chewing the surge protector. And then I look on the couch, and my 4-year-old is watching TV in zombie mode while we're all trying to work. And so we all kind of have this position right now where we say, this is just so stressful. Same thing with my story. But that is not what stress is. Those are stressors. Stress is how we react to those stressors. And so if you're feeling like, man, I'm exhausted, I'm more stressed out, I'm fatigued, we have the ability to cope in a different way if we choose to. And that's the power of stress, and that's going to be how I end with how to build your immune system. We have a lot more control. And these are the foundations we're going to build on. How you rest, think about sleep, stress management, breathing, how you eat. The food you're putting in your body is directly related to how much energy you have, and then daily movement. And so I'm going to do 2 mindsets today. I'm going to try to make it very, very simple. Number one, mindset number one is we have to have strategies to manage stress. In today's world, demands are increasing, our capacity is shrinking. We need to have coping mechanisms for stress. And so if you think about stress, what is stress? A lot of people, and use this as a good example, look at this bear and say that's stress. And that would be incorrect. What stress is what we perceive might happen and the physical response that creates. So if we're just looking at this bear, we don't know what that bear is going to do. Could be the bear, will lick our face, but we're fearful of what the bear might do, maul us, bite us, claw us, whatever, the worst case scenario. And for many of us, we have this happen every single day, whether it's an email, a text, the news. We try to predict what might happen, and many times our perception of the stressor is worse than it actually is. And so the key thing that I want you to know is stress is what you say to yourself. So this pandemic, this crisis, this chaos, the market volatilities, it's really how we react to that creates stress, meaning we have control. But this is the big point that I just made. Stress is not psychological, it's physical. And when you think about the immune system, when you're stressed, when your heart rate's elevated, irritable, muscle tension, heart rate, if you've ever been nervous, you understand the digestion changes. But the big one is your immune system suppresses. So when we're stressed, our immune system shuts down. And so these are all the physical symptoms of being stressed, meaning these are things we can avoid if we start to have management strategies for stress. Now this slide's going to take about 2 minutes. It's a little more complicated than the rest of the slides, but I have to share this if I really want to program in your mindset how much control we have. See, we all are going to have some alarm go off. That's your stress response. And there's two sides to your alarm reaction. The sympathetic, think of that as the gas. And then there's the parasympathetic, think of it as the brake. You can also think about it yin and yang. It has to be balanced. For most of us, we tend to gravitate to the sympathetic fight or flight stress response. And this fight or flight, your heart rate goes up, vessels restrict, focus increases. And this can be a good thing in short periods, adrenaline. But after a while, if we're constantly day in and day out, this chronic slow stress, it creates this bear response. You're irritable. You're not as pleasant to the people that you love. You're shorter. You're snappier. And after a while, it creates fatigue. And I'm seeing this across the world. I've done 110 webinars over the last 4 months. People are fatigued because then they're in this constant state of sympathetic fight or flight. Our solution there is we need some rest tactics, and I'll get into that. But the other side of the equation is something I can't overemphasize. Some people manage stress by being in the gas pedal, the sympathetic. But some people do the opposite, and that's called the parasympathetic. For most of us, this could be a coping mechanism. It's called rest and digest. Think about this. 15 years ago, have any of you ever heard of digestive issues? Gluten intolerances, IBS, GERD, all these things that are now very common. If you're too stressed, it's impossible to have good digestion. And it says it right there, parasympathetic rest and digest. But if this is how you cope with stress and you're not able to get out of this nervous system, it creates a possum response. And this is where depression lives. And so if you know someone that struggles with depression, it's a good chance that they're handling their stress with this parasympathetic dominance. And after a while, it creates atrophy, the mind, the body. You don't have the energy, the willpower. And our strategy there is we need to create more movement in our world. Now, this is kind of sum it all up. You can't, not turn on the news or read the paper, or read any articles, not hear about mental health issues. Depression, anxiety are off the charts. And this is not a genetic thing. This is how it has to be. It's something that we're not dealing with the right way. And what we have to realize is our mind is not in the present moment for most of the day. Social media, the way we work, the way that we're trying to get ahead of the demands. And so what you have to understand is anxiety is fear of the future. Depression is playing the past experiences, whether you should have done something or could have done something differently. And so what we have to recognize, if we can become more present, and I'm going to give you a couple tactics here to become more present, this is how we start dealing with these emotional disturbances. So the first tactic I'm going to teach you, and this is fundamentally the most valuable tactic, your most valuable tool, it's how you breathe. And your nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, has those two sides, the sympathetic, parasympathetic. But let me teach you first strategy. It's called diaphragmatic belly breathing. I don't know where everyone's at. Maybe you're sitting, maybe you're driving. Hopefully you're not driving and watching, but wherever you're at, I want you to put your hand on your belly. And I want you to inhale through your nose and allow your belly to come out. Exhale through your nose, let your belly come in. This is called diaphragmatic belly breathing. And why is this important? Because when we become stressed, when we get worse posture, when we're sitting all day, we tend to hold our breath, breathe through our chest, breathe through our mouth. If we can practice this diaphragmatic breathing, it allows us to get into that rest and digest, that parasympathetic, because it attaches to this vagus nerve and goes up into the brain. And so if you're feeling stressed, anxious, your digestion's not right, nervous, practicing this diaphragmatic breathing is step one. There's no other way to change your stress internally than to change how you breathe. Understand this, as we become stressed, if we aren't aware of it, we're not present, we're not conscious, that we have this reflex called the Herring-Brewer reflex that changes our nervous system because we're using our chest. And so changing how you breathe, trying to use the belly is a very simple, easy way to start managing stress. The second tactic around breathing, and you should teach this to your kids, to your colleagues, to your spouse, your nose is what's called the nervous system switchboard. And you're thinking, nervous system switchboard? I thought I just have this nose. Your nose is much more sophisticated. It has a bunch of neurons, and those neurons communicate what's happening outside in the world. And so if we get in this habit of mouth breathing, it's telling us internally that we better have this fight or flight or this stress response. But your nose can actually relax the mind, control your emotions, relax the nervous system. And here's what this exercise is. It's called alternating nostril breathing. So we're going to start with the right nostril. You're going to block the left with your left index finger. Inhale 3 seconds through the right. Exhale 3 seconds through the right. Inhale 3 seconds through the left. Exhale 3 seconds through the left. We're going to go back and forth 3 times. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the left. One more. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the right. Last one. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the left. And so your nose will allow your nervous system to re-regulate. And so some of you had a clogged right nostril. That means that you're in this parasympathetic dominance. Maybe you had a clogged left nostril. That's telling you that you're in a sympathetic dominance. And so changing and practicing this is an easy way to increase focus, concentration, and to balance that nervous system. The second thing, the second tactic is sleep. How many of you, if you raise your hand, how many of you value sleep today more than you did 10 years ago? I value sleep. It's my number one. Because what does sleep do? It's the number one thing to prevent cancer of anything we do. And we're sleeping less than 7 hours a night. And so we have to start valuing sleep. We have to start changing and planning for sleep if we want to get better sleep in the future. Think about this. Are you planning your sleep? You're thinking, planning my sleep? I just hit the pillow and hope it happens. Well, you plan for people to come over, you plan for meetings, you plan for everything else in your life except sleep. And so now that we know sleep is so valuable, we're sleeping less, we got to start planning for sleep. Here's one simple tactic to improve sleep. People struggle with 2 things: falling asleep, staying asleep. If you're struggling to fall asleep, it's a good chance that you're overstimulated. And so give yourself 30 minutes, 60 minutes before bed where you're unplugging. And again, 30 minutes, 60 minutes from when you wake up where you're not looking and using your phone. 15 years ago, how many of you checked email before bed? 0. Today, 95, 99% of our population is on our devices right before the minute we go to bed. And so we got to change this habit. The second thing is you're not able to stay asleep. Matt, I fall asleep, but around 2, 3 a.m. I wake up, I'm hot, I'm agitated, and I can't stay asleep. This is called Epsom salts. And Epsom salts are pure magnesium. This allows you to stay asleep. Magnesium is the relaxation mineral. And all you do with the Epsom salts, you get a foot bath, a regular bath, you put a cup of Epsom salts, and it allows the skin to absorb the magnesium. Challenge me on this. If you're not able to stay asleep right now, it's a good chance that you're deficient in magnesium. I don't recommend magnesium supplements, but you can get the magnesium from Epsom salts or from whole foods, chia seeds, cacao nibs, dates, raisins, figs. So many great ways to get magnesium. The last piece from a rest standpoint, and if you want to screen grab this to me is as profound as it can get. The way we're living has changed dramatically. But the most important part of our life is this white space. It's called humanity, relationships, hobbies, passions. And from 1940 to 2008, we had about 5 hours of white space. Slept about 8 hours, worked about 8 hours, survival about 3. And then in 2007, the iPhone gets created. We're sleeping less, working more, survival stays the same. But then we start using our devices optionally. This isn't your TV, this isn't your computer, this is your phone. We start to have less white space. But look at today. And this is before the pandemic. Sleeping less than 7 hours, working and commuting more, survival about 2 hours, and then we're spending about 5 hours on our devices a day. Here's my strategy. We have to start re-emphasizing, reprioritizing white space. It's the most important part of our life. It's what makes me and you different. All those relationships, hobbies, passions. But most of us have less than an hour of white space a day. And that's why we're feeling restricted. And so what we're going to focus on is what we can control. Yes, we're going to use these devices. These things make what we're doing right now possible. But we're also going to have to double down on adding the white space. Massages, they're starting to come back. It's going to take a while. But maybe it's a 15-hour vacation or a 24-hour vacation. What does that mean? You don't need to take 2 to 3 weeks or a week. Take a day off, unplug, get away. Maybe it's that pedicure, manicure when those open, or walking in nature without your phone, meditation, electronic breaks, stretching, cold shower. Maybe it's art. Maybe it's music. You have to find something that's white space to you. I played college golf. I love golf. Golf is a white space activity for me. And when we couldn't golf there in the early spring, it was a challenge, but I had to find different ways to recharge my batteries so that I could give more to others. And you have to realize the way we're working is not working because we don't have the breaks. And so I know a lot of you are in positions where you're going from the minute you start to the minute you end with not a lot of breaks. And I'm not telling you you need a 15-minute break and you need to go get outside for 15 minutes or unplug or not look at your email. I'm talking about 2 to 3 minutes. And what we realize is if we can give ourselves 3 to 4 micro breaks a day, where we're not on our devices, where we're not working, where we're giving ourselves some rejuvenation, we're going to work so much better. But more importantly, at the end of the day, we're going to have more to give. One of my favorite micro breaks is using this foam roller. It's an amazing tool. A lot of people roll their muscles, but all I do on this is lay on it. You can see I'm just laying on this in the picture, lining up your spine. I can work on my breathing. It's an amazing tool to create these micro breaks. Again, on our website, you'll find some videos how to do the foam roller. So on our website, there's 3 things I talked about to manage stress. Work on your breathing, belly breathing, alternating nostril breathing, sleep. Number 1, plan it. And that could be so interesting if you think about it. Are you planning your sleep? Now, if sleep is not a problem with you, it's not where I would start, but it's one of the fastest group of medications growing on the planet. It's a big problem. And so we have to start planning sleep and then adding the white space. Mindset number 2, this should be shouted at the mountaintops. We have to build our immune system. It's our most powerful armor. The vaccine, the future, it's unknown. And that's okay. We don't have to know everything, but what we do know is our immune system's our most powerful armor. And if we build it, it can protect us much more than most of us believe. The truth is, the research is coming out in the United States and across the globe. We have this herd immune system, meaning the entire population's immune system is much weaker than we actually thought. And that's part of the reason why this spread like it did, because we didn't have the immune system. And so what I want to give you is you have the ability to build your immune system, or you can allow your immune system to break down. I'm going to focus on what we can do. Number one is understanding your pH of your body controls the health of your gut. The health of your gut controls how you're going to have a healthy immune system. Everything you put in the body, even stress and exercise, dictates the pH level that you have. Here's what I want you to do. Whatever you're consuming, maybe it's chips. How can I get a better chip? Or if I go from chips to a whole food, that's going to start to increase my pH balance. The key is the body needs to be in a balance about 7.4 to 6.8. And if you get too acidic, then the body's going to start working against you. You're going to leach out minerals. It's going to be hard for you to maintain weight. You're not going to have the energy, and your immune system's going to be compromised. Remember this: acid equals inflammation. Alkaline equals less inflammation. We're going to share with you this food target after, and this food target's designed, the closer you go to the center, the more alkaline the food is, the less inflammation you're going to have. The red area, this is going to create inflammation, high acid foods. So understanding your pH controls the health of your gut. Number two, the source. Matt, should I take this supplement? Should I take a prebiotic, probiotic? What do you think of apple cider vinegar? What do you think of intermittent fasting? All these trends and diets. I'm going to make it really simple. Everyone's very smart, and you can understand what's the source of what I'm eating. What's the source of Pringles? Nobody has any idea. What's the source of sweet potato? You have an idea. It's a sweet potato. And so the closer you move to the source, the better it is for you. Sugar is getting a horrible rap because everybody believes sugar makes you fat. Well, sugar is equal carbohydrates. Not all sugars are created equal. In this picture is sugar cane. At the source, it's fibrous, it's got minerals, it's got water. This is not the problem. But once you process it, it's farther from the source, then it becomes a problem from a sugar standpoint. What I want you to think about is, how do you get closer to the source? Here's a great example. Flax seeds. Every single person on the planet should be doing flax seeds because it's cheap, it's high in protein, high in fiber, high in lignans, high in omega-3 fatty acids. $1.50 a month to do a tablespoon a day. There's one trick with the flax seeds. If you don't grind the flax seeds, you will see the flax seeds again. And so you got to grind the flax seeds in a cheap coffee grinder. I put it in my kids' applesauce. I put it in my smoothies. I put it in juice or cereal. But what happens is people try to look for the easiest option. So it goes to flaxseed oil. Price goes way up, 17 times in price. Potency goes down. But what everyone kind of goes to are these gel capsules because they're easy, they're convenient, and they're cheap from the onset. But what we don't realize is, what's the dosage? You need 15 to 20 gel capsules to equal a tablespoon of the flax seeds. That's why the gel capsules cost $40 a month compared to $1.50 a month from the flax seeds. You do this with any food you're consuming a lot of, whether it's protein powder, a supplement, a beverage. The closer you move to the source, it's going to be cheaper and healthier for you. And that's why I don't recommend protein powder. It's very processed. They remove the fat, they remove the water, they dehydrate it, they remove the sugar, and then they add some artificial flavor. My protein powder is, I put flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds in a smoothie, frozen fruit, banana water. That's my protein upgrade. So I'm going to give you 3 simple nutrition tactics to boost your immune system. And it's this simple. Number 1 is, are you drinking enough water? With this new stay at home, one of the biggest challenges I see is we've changed our habit, our rituals, our day-to-day, where we're moving about. So many of us are not drinking enough water. We start the day with a glass of water, but we don't fill it up the rest of the day. So the first thing I want to tell you is, you need half your body weight in ounces of water a day, and it's going to do 2 things for you. Energy, so it's going to boost your energy, and it's going to help flush toxins. Both of those things are going to be essential to your immune system. The other thing, adding lemons or limes or citrus fruit to your water makes your body more alkaline. Now, if you squirt these things in your eye, they're very acidic, but by digestion, the body becomes more alkaline. So these are two easy ways to make your water healthier, more palatable, and to improve that pH balance. Second tactic, it's not what you're eating that I'm the most worried about, it's what you're not eating. And so we don't focus on saying, hey, you shouldn't eat this. Now there's some things I think we know we need to eat in moderation. But what we focus at On Target Living is what you're not consuming and what would benefit you the most. And we call these superfoods. And there's two key nutrients that superfoods can really help you with. The first one is omega-3s. Omega-3s, they're essential fatty acid. 98% of Michigan residents are probably deficient in omega-3 fatty acids. And there's two ways to get omega-3s. Number one is a fish oil. And the fish oil we recommend is cod liver oil. And the reason we recommend cod liver oil is because it has vitamin D3 naturally. Vitamin D3 is essential for a strong immune system. It acts like a hormone. Many people know that they're deficient in vitamin D, especially living in Michigan, because we're not getting enough sunlight. The other thing is high in omega-3 fatty acids, DHA, EPA, and again, 98% of us are deficient in these omega-3 fatty acids. Now, Stephanie will tell you when I'm doing a seminar, I sample this because you're thinking this must taste disgusting. Well, it tastes like lemon oil. And so most of us have to get over that belief because a lot of people are taking a fish oil or fish oil gel capsule and they need 15 to 20, 25 of those gel capsules to equal a tablespoon of the oil. So we recommend the cod liver oil. It does two things. It helps balance your hormones and helps to make that cholesterol balance in line. And so those are two big problems that people have. And remember, it's an essential nutrient that most of us are not getting. From a plant-based, you can get your omega-3s from flax seeds or chia seeds. Chia seeds you don't have to grind, flax seeds you do. Here's an interesting statement. In the 35 plus years my father's been doing this, the 15 plus years that I've been doing this, we've never not had someone not get off their cholesterol medication by combining these two omega-3s. And so a lot of you know somebody or yourself that struggles with your cholesterol balance, or your doctor wants to put you on a statin, or you're currently on a statin. I'm not your doctor, but what I'm telling you is these are some of the nutrients that if we can consume, the body will heal itself. The second form of superfoods are greens. I could come in here and tell you to eat spinach, kale, broccoli, but it requires too much energy, too many behavior changes. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the two oldest foods on the planet, spirulina chlorella and wheatgrass or grass. So an algae and a grass, and these two foods hold this nutrient called chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a phytonutrient that we can find in green plants, and think of that phytonutrient as the immune system of the plant. When we consume it, what it does for us is it helps boost our immune system. It also helps us detoxify. The way you consume these, the spirulina chlorella, you just swallow these with water. It's a freshwater algae that doesn't taste very good. Do not chew the tablets. You just swallow them with water. 10 tablets to start, boost your immune system, helps you detoxify. And then my favorite superfood is a frozen wheatgrass. And this is probably the last thing people do, but the benefit here, especially if you have digestive issues, if you're really out of balance from a pH standpoint, it's extremely alkaline, high in minerals, pre and probiotic. Now I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm focusing on what we need to add to our diet that most people don't have. But I want to talk about that first slide I talked about. You got to build habits. So if you're doing 0 of these things, my message is not to do all 4. My message is to build a habit maybe around 1. Because once you have that habit, it leads to the next. A lot of people are taking multivitamins, supplements, pills, what their neighbors telling them they should take. At the source, these are the 4 most powerful foods that if we go one by one, will really cover a lot of ground. The last tactic from nutrition is understanding pre and probiotics. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, nobody ever talked about pre and probiotics. You question why? Because all the research out there is telling us all the benefits of this good bacteria, those probiotics. Well, we were eating better food, and so we didn't have to require supplementation for these pre and probiotics. Write this down. pre and probiotics do not come from a pill. They come from food. And so if we can consume food that's pre and probiotic, we're going to get a lot more bang for our buck. I'm going to share this handout with you. It's a pre, pro, and symbiotic gut bacteria chart. Here's what a prebiotic is. It helps to feed the good bacteria. Bananas, fruits, onions, potatoes, flax seeds, chia seeds, nuts. These are all prebiotics. And you can see a lot of people don't consume enough of these, and that's why they have to supplement with a pill. Probiotics, sauerkraut, fermented foods, apple cider vinegar, kombucha tea, lemons, limes, apples. Coming out of here, what's one thing everyone listening, no matter where you live or what's your current work, whether you're at home or in the office, having a piece of fruit every single day is essential if you want to have good gut health. Now, a lot of people are not eating fruit because all they're trying to do is lose weight. Weight is a symptom of being healthy. If you cut out fruit, you cannot get pre and probiotics like you need. So one key, an apple is so much more powerful than apple cider vinegar because of the source. This is one of the most amazing foods that I try to consume daily so that I can make sure I'm getting these pre and probiotics. Now remember, I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not talking about being perfect. Everyone's in a different spot. But wherever you're at, whether it's yourself, your spouse, your family, maybe you just have pets at home, I want you just to make an upgrade. If you're over here in the red, can we go to the orange? If right now you're consuming a lot of Doritos and diet sodas and fast food, maybe we just start having one piece of fruit a day. Not going to worry about all that stuff. We're going to slowly make these upgrades. Understand that if we can get closer to 70, 30, 80, 20, good, bad, or how we like to talk about it, the best to poor, you're going to start building your immune system. It's called immunorejuvenation. What we don't realize, and even through this pandemic, it was too late once it hit, that the body can actually rejuvenate healthy immune cells. But if you're not healthy to begin with, we actually rejuvenate unhealthy immune cells. 30 million Americans are on autoimmune disease drugs. That means that we have 30 million people that at least take drugs because their immune system is so compromised. That's a lot of people. And so we have an opportunity through food, it's the most powerful medicine to build our immune system. This is very interesting. What you eat controls the healthier gut. The healthier gut controls the healthier immune system. The healthier immune system goes back to your nervous system, controls how healthy your mind is. And vice versa. If you're stressed, you're going to have digestive issues, which means your immune system is going to be compromised, and then you're not probably going to eat the right food. So connecting the dots between stress and the immune system, I know it's an opportunity right now to be stressed out. But if you have coping mechanisms, you start thinking about food as your building block, this is where we start to see some profound changes, and this is where we can start playing offense. The last thing, movement. I recommend you go to our website just to see, we have free exercises and guides and tactics. But most people are not moving their body like they need to, and they know it. But they're focused too much on the physical benefits. And you say, well, I'm okay physically right now. But we're not okay mentally. And the number one aspect of movement that gets overlooked is the benefit it does for your mind. See, we've been isolated, quarantined, this weird environment, and that can do some crazy things, but movement is a very powerful antidepressant, mood enhancer, psychological improver. And so however you can find movement into your day, things you enjoy, these people are dancing, could be exercise, could be games, whatever. We have to move our body daily if we want to feel our best. And leaving this, I got a couple more slides, but you're the source and solution to your stress. And you got to know that. A lot of people are running around saying, I can't control my stress. That's bogus. We're the source and solution. Whatever's happening around us could be the worst case scenario. It's still how we react to it that creates those physical responses. And we're not going to dodge stress completely, but we have so much more control. Number two, think about food as medicine. Don't think about food as, it's not going to make a difference. It makes a profound difference. We know that it can, cure someone from type 2 diabetes. If you have an autoimmune disease, you can improve that autoimmune disease with food. Cholesterol imbalances, skin issues, digestive health, even ADHD, and some of these brain issues. Food is medicine, and it helps us build our immune system. This is our foundation. Again, go to our website, tons of resources, how you rest, how you eat, and how you move. Here's my father's email. I just throw that on there because he's a wealth of knowledge, been doing this 35 years. Myself, that's my email. These are our personal emails. If you send us an email, we will respond personally, and we have a ton of resources, podcasts, app, social media. Make sure to check it out on our website. And I see Stephanie popping back on. I'll wrap up with this. And then if we want to do Q&A, happy to do some Q&A. I know a lot of you are on this call. Some of you are like, I want to hear what he's saying. Some of you are like, I need some help. Some of you just are trying to kill an hour. But there's probably one thing you want: weight loss, digestive issues, blood work, energy, sleep. But the truth is, and I do this over and over again, people don't do what they need to do, the basics. And then they don't get what they want. I want you to leave today, pick one or two things. Drink more water. Maybe you thought those superfoods were things that could help you. Maybe you're going to move the body. Maybe you're going to practice breathing. But the reality is, if you want something, that means you have to change something. Pick one or two action items, build a habit. And I've seen this over and over again, is if you build habits, it becomes a lot easier to get what you want versus stopping and starting because you're trying to do some quick fix, some quick diet. Pick something that resonated with you, create some wants and desires, and connect those dots. So I'm going to quit sharing my screen. I'll go to full camera, and if there's any questions, we can do a little Q&A.
Thanks, Matt. I have a giant grocery list, so looking forward to trying to find some of these things. So you can unmute yourself and ask a verbal question or type one into the chat if you have any questions regarding anything. And someone asked if we can get a copy of the slides and the recording. We are recording. Matt gave us permission for that, so I will email that out to you. And then Matt, if I could send your slides out as PDF, that might be helpful as well.
Yeah, if you really want my slides, I can get a PDF. I think the recording is great because the slides will be on every part. The value of some stuff we can send, we'll send these documents, the food target and gut biotics chart. So we'll send those as well with the recording. What other questions are out there?
This is really great, and thanks for sending those two slides. The charts look like really good things.
Sure.
I'm excited to get those. I'll have a big grocery list too.
Yeah, don't blame it on me. I'm just telling you to make some small tweaks.
Patricia is asking about your books by you and your father on Amazon, and do you recommend one over the other?
Yeah, I think people are reading less than ever before. So I think we have great books. There's 3 books we have. Capacity. Capacity is a book written about how organizations can improve the health of their people to create better organizations. The On Target Living is going to be like this presentation, but kind of deeper. So the Rest, Eat, Move, but deeper. So that's more personal. And then my sister and I wrote a cookbook called Target to Table that I think is our best book because I like pictures. So there's a bunch of recipes. I like to cook. So those are our 3 books. But if you don't like to read, and I'm not saying not to buy those, like the anti-commercial, but we have tons of resources for free right on our website that you can start looking at tomorrow. So those are great if one of those fits, but also, like Stephanie will tell you, just check out our website. There's tons of resources right there with some of the same information.
Okay. It's just on targetliving.com. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
And that's where we can find those exercises too. We're always looking for some new ones
everything.
in my house. Okay.
Yep, everything.
Thank you.
And if you don't find what you're looking for, you have my personal email so you can hunt me down, track me down.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for your time. You know how to reach Matt, you know how to reach me. We'll get this recording and all this information out to you, but really appreciate it, Matt.
You got it. Well, everyone, good luck, and look forward to hearing from you if you need any help. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
You too.